Sounds good.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Rick Grenier, and I'll be chairing tonight's meeting. Unfortunately, Tracy couldn't attend. I'll get started with some introductions, starting at this end, please.
Maureen Hall, Senior Representative, Citizen. Your turn.
Matthew Brown, Student Representative.
Rick Grenier again, and I'm also here as an MYA representative.
Michelle Creswell, Member and Secretary.
Naomi Halter, School Board Representative.
Phil Parzewski, Member.
And Matt Kasparis, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Thank you. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes from February. Let me remind everyone, we did not meet in March because of a quorum issue. So those in favor of approving February's minutes,
I
please.
make a motion we approve.
Thank you. Second, anyone?
Second.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye. First, second.
Thank you. And that'll take us down to old business. And Matt, will you be updating the dog park?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
We don't really have anything much unless Heather's got something now that she just walked in on the dog park.
I guess we're just trying to find some ways to come up with some type of shelter from the sun for guests and animals. So I don't know, I'm trying to look and see about having something donated. And
Yeah.
just trying to work on that.
We always put it on our list when scouts approach us about project ideas, and so far nobody's jumped on it, so.
I was looking to actually, honestly, our family was going to donate a gazebo, and my husband offered to put in the footing so that it's a permanent structure.
Okay,
So,
let's
yeah.
move on, and we'll revisit that next month, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
That takes us to new business, and Matt's going to speak on a memorial bench request.
Yep. And I think Grace is going to come turn on the projector just so we can see this image. But the town council got a request from the family of Jack Lewis, who was a lifelong resident of town, raised his kids here, lived on Hall Ave. But I guess was a longtime coach with the MYA, particularly in soccer and softball through the 90s, it looks like. And so they were looking to put in a memorial bench, and the only instructions they gave us, or the only ask was, somewhere within a park. And so in talking to Rick and the MYA, the thought process obviously was Reed's Ferry, where we have both soccer and softball. And so what I have here on the screen is obviously fields 1 and 2 at Reed's Ferry, which is these. 1 is the one on the left here, 2 is on the right, and obviously it kind of overlaps with soccer in the off season when it's not softball season. But what we're kind of looking at is probably, behind the backstop, along the first baseline here, probably at field 1, I think, is what the conversation Rick and I had was. But if anybody else has other suggestions, or if anybody knew him, or if he was partial to a field, then we'd certainly look at that too. But the family themselves didn't have any particular location request.
Are they going to fund the?
So yeah, the way memorial benches work in town is first the location gets approved, and then the family can choose whether to do either a wooden bench with a plaque, or they can do a stone granite bench, kind of like we have over here at Abbey Griffin Park, with it engraved. And there's a they pay the cost of whatever the material is. Last time I looked, the wooden bench I want to say is $800 to $1,000. the granite benches are $3,000 or $4,000, as I recall last time. And then obviously Public Works will put it in, you know, and then we'd do some sort of ceremony, when that time came.
Thank you, Matt. I think we should, first of all, thank the Hall family for this honor, and Mr. Hall for all his volunteer work with the MYA, and
Louis,
Mr.
he was
Luce.
married to the Halls.
Thank
but-
you. And a privilege to have it at one of our fields. Thank you.
And those fields were owned by a hall.
Those ones were?
Yeah, John's father owned them.
Oh, even better.
That's appropriate.
Thanks.
Thank you, Matt.
So we would need then a motion to make a recommendation to the council to approve it at that location.
Okay.
I move to recommend the memorial bench request to the town council.
Thank you. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That'll take us down to the director's report, and Matt again.
So yeah, I told you this was going to be a nice, quick, easy meeting. All right, so there's a lot going on because it's April and it is. Camp registration is kind of ongoing. As of yesterday, our Camp Nanticoke is now 92% full for the entire summer. And our teen camp is at 85%, and then our one-week theater camp is actually 100% full now. A few weeks ago, you know, we were working on because we did those changes with the refund policy and the cancellations and when you had to cancel by and all that, we did a specific targeted mailing, because nobody reads their emails, saying, okay, by the way, you know, here it is. Okay, if you're registered week 1, this is when payment is due. Week 2, you know, all the way down. We're actually hosting tonight an open house, as it were, for our teen camp families. Anybody, particularly if they're new, wants to come in and ask questions, or they're 7 to 8:30 tonight. Ask questions, meet some of the leadership staff, you know, that sort of thing. And then we're doing the same thing tomorrow night with the Camp Nanticoke families, again at 7 o'clock at Wasserman. Again, particularly geared towards new families that are new to the process, and what does camp look like? Where's drop off? How does that, you know, get all those questions answered? So that's this week. We're doing fairly well on staffing at this point. I get a position filled and then somebody drops out on me. So it's one of those things. We're in that kind of funny mode right now. But right now, I need 2 counselors left in my teen camp. I need an archery instructor. I need a nature instructor. And then beyond camp, I'm looking for one more weekend park attendant, which is Saturdays and Sundays. All of those positions you do have to be 18 or older, I should say. And the application is on the town website or on our website. So we're kind of plugging away. We're in full camp mode at this point. It's probably 90% of my day. You know, we're starting to work on supply ordering and food ordering and all that kind of stuff. You know, we're just starting to open up all the buildings that have been shut since August and debugging them and despidering and all that. We have the Girl Scouts do a camporee there every year in May, in 3 weeks, I think. So we have a couple of weeks to get the water turned on, find and fix the leaks, repair shutters, whatever, you know, and get them kind of cleaned and ready to go. And that's kind of our final big hurdle before we get into summer.
Matt, excuse me.
Yeah.
When does day 1 of camp begin, and how does that fit in with the last day of school?
We actually lucked out a little bit with that. So officially, day 1 of camp is Monday, June 24th. Up until it was interesting because I had called the superintendent's office right before that April snowstorm and was double checking my dates, and it was going to be Tuesday the 17th, I think it was. And then we had that April snowstorm, and I went, oh, it's Tuesday the 18th. And then we got an email from a family the other day going, oh, we heard school's done on Friday the 14th. Are you running camp the week of that whole week? And I'm like, no, because right now we've got staff training lined up for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the 19th, 20th, and 21st, and that's 8 hours a day of the staff go through 24 hours of intensive training to to be ready for that following Monday. So there's no way to squeeze something in, so. Back to staffing while I'm thinking about it for a moment. I actually am also looking for somebody to, another counselor for my after-school program, because I just had somebody leave us, so. So that's open as well, and that's like a 15-hour a week through the school year, but then obviously, hopefully they'd want to come back next, hopefully they kind of want to come work at camp this summer and then come back again in the fall, but, and we actually did open up registration already for next year's after-school program, and we've already got a dozen kids signed up for next year. And of those, probably 3 or 4 of them are brand new to us already. So we're starting out from a pretty good spot. So we're trying to get them early and get them locked in and get a nice full program. So, and we will be again this year for next school year, we'll be starting the year with Thornton's Ferry and Mastrocola with transportation from those schools. We're still not quite to the point where we can do Reed's Ferry because it needs that. I can do 2 schools with 1 bus. I can't do 3 because we have to be able to pick up all the kids by 10 after 3, and there's no way to get from one side of town to the other with pickups in that time frame that we have. So, so still with 2, and then maybe following year, but we'll see. This coming weekend is our scheduled community cleanup day. We haven't actually done this formally since 2018, but we had a couple of groups in town reach out and say, hey, can you do this again? And we said, sure.
Awesome.
We'd love to have some people come clean up. So right now we have 11 groups coming out in town at parks and conservation areas all over town. On this Saturday, April 20th, from 9:30 to 12. Basically, we give them trash bags and gloves, and they go off to their assigned park, and then we'll go around later and pick up the trash bags and that kind of stuff.
Matt, excuse me, is that meeting place here as it once was?
That's actually at my office at Wasserman.
Okay, thank you.
And if somebody wants to sign up, they can do it through our website, or they can call us, just so I know, or they can just show up Saturday, honestly, and we'll assign them a location. But we also had, aside from the 11 coming Saturday, we actually just had a group from Fidelity this past weekend, and then on Monday we had a group from, with the fields that.
A good Tenge?
Yeah.
Okay.
They came over Monday and did a bunch of work at Wasserman for us too.
Nice.
So, so we've had some do outside of the day, but we'll take it anytime. So, so that's our next kind of big event, and then obviously beyond that, our next events isn't real till summer starts with concerts in the park in June. So, and then lastly, just miscellaneous stuff. Next Friday, April 26th, for anybody listening at home, I've still got, I think, 6 tickets left for Red Sox at Red Sox versus the Cubs. I think it's the first time they've played the Cubs at home in 8 or 9 years. It's a Friday night game. It's $99 for the ticket and transportation. It's infield grandstand over on the third base line, so nice seats.
Yeah.
On Saturday, because, I'm glutton for punishment, on Saturday, we've got our murder mystery dinner show over here at the John O'Leary Adult Community Center. So it's a catered dinner, and then it's the Murder Mystery Company of Boston, which was actually on Shark Tank a couple of weeks ago. And so they do their, play, and you try to figure out who did it. And then speaking of murders, the following week on Saturday, May 4th, we've got 10 tickets left. We've got Clue, the Broadway musical, down at the Colonial Theater in Boston on Saturday, May 4th, and that's again $99 for ticket and balcony level seats at the theater. So, couple of trips and events coming up in the next couple of weeks. So, and that is all I have.
Okay, very good, thank you. Please, Phil.
So the Lions Den building?
Yep.
The Lions had a meeting this past week, and we're going to be cleaning up that building on the later part of May.
Okay.
So
Yeah, perfect.
we'll take care of that. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that the Girl Scout project for the Wasserman Theater,
Yes.
this Saturday, the 20th, from 12 to 4, there'll be a work party there. So anybody out there in the Ethernet who wants to help out. I've gone to a couple of their work sessions, and they could use some more hands to make the project work. So, but it's coming along. It's going to be great when it's done, but
Good.
we need more help. So, anybody can help, that'll be great.
Great.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Matt, I want to also add that on behalf of MYA, we'll have our teams take care of their respective fields.
Great.
As far as cleanup goes, like they've done in the past.
Good.
Okay, so that takes us down to organizational reports, and we're going to start with myself and MYA. First thing, to be quite candid, is we want to thank everyone that supported Warrant Article 11, although it did not pass this year. Also, thanks are owed to the Department of Public Works, going crazy right now trying to get things ready and open. And as I always do, thanking Gatang for the use of their field and Elbit Systems for theirs as well. And presently at MYA, we have registration for our football program open. That's about it at this time. Go ahead, Matt.
And actually, I'm glad you mentioned DPW. Yeah, I guess social media is kind of blowing up in town on fields, and you know, part of like, why aren't they open? Well, there was snow on the ground 2 weeks ago, and then it rained for a week, so you know, they're, as Rick said, they're kind of working as fast as they can, but it's like you can only do so much in a day because
Yeah.
some of the fields are still fairly soupy, and you know, if you go on them too soon, then it destroys the fields and makes them even worse shape. So you know, we're trying to balance that and get things open as soon as they can. So.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to the Senior Citizens Club and Maureen.
Hello, everybody. There's about, I guess, 11 people going to the Castleton for the Beach Boys. They didn't have enough for a bus, so people are driving. Just right down the street, really, in Hudson, so it's not like it's miles away. We had sign-ups for the Nelson twins for Danvers, Mass. Plus, you know, we had a few people sign up for the murder mystery, which is, I'm one of them. And I can't wait. And then May 13th, we're having our 50th anniversary party. It's on Monday. Rather than tie up weekends at the center when they're getting busy now, we don't give them money to have, the seniors don't, for holding the center. So that we'd rather the center make money. And they've got some really good plans, decorating the Christmas tree in gold. But that's it.
Very nice.
We're busy. Thank you.
Great, good to hear. Remarkably, you're always busy, it seems like, over there. I think that's great. Okay, so that'll take us to Naomi and the school board, please.
Oops. Hello. So next week is April vacation. And as Matt alluded to, the school board set the last day of school at our meeting on Monday. It will be Friday, June 14th, and it is a half day. We managed that by counting hours, instructional hours, instead of days. Graduation for high schoolers is on June 15th. And then the one other thing I wanted to touch on is, everybody knows we had town elections a week and a half or so ago, and the school budget did not pass. So we're going to be operating on the default budget. And there is a meeting tomorrow night in this room at 6 o'clock, that's April 18th, where the administration is going to be presenting their proposal for how we're going to meet the default budget. So if there are interested parties, there will be option for public comment before the school board votes on anything during the meeting. If people want to come have input, or if you want to watch from home, that's great too.
Great, thank you. Sounds like a very important meeting. That takes us to our student representative, Matt.
Yeah, so I have quite a bit in terms of things that we did in March. So every year the band and the chorus goes to the large group festival. Unfortunately, we got snowed out. So in March we went to, it was one of the Nashua high schools, to participate in a sort of mock large group, which is where a band or a choir gets together and they get judged pretty much on their performance. PSATs and SATs were also held in March. Last Friday, on the 12th, the class of 2026 ran their spring fling dance.
Another thing for our music program, the All-State Festival for Classical All-State was held on April 5th and April 6th. And then our unified track team held their first meet on the 11th. That was great to see. Besides that, I wanted to lastly touch on the next concert for the Merrimack Band, which is on May 16th. And we're playing 3 pieces, one of which is called Zadok Fantasy, which was commissioned by our very own band.
Very good, thank you, Matt. Our town council rep is at another meeting presently, correct?
Correct, yeah. But like the school budget, the town's budget is also in default, so we're still trying to figure that out, but I don't believe a public meeting has been scheduled as of yet for that. Department heads were asked last week to go back and figure out where cuts could be made, but we don't have that, nothing's been decided yet.
Okay, thank you, Matt. I don't see anyone from the public here this evening. Does anyone have any additional comments or questions?
Quick and efficient.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for attending and for those watching on television. Our next meeting is scheduled for May 15th and the following June 19th. All of those in favor of meeting adjourned?
Yeah, I make a motion.
Thank you, Maureen.
Second.
Very good. All in favor? Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. Thank you. We are adjourned at what? Wow. 7:23?